now. So I will turn it over to you, Alex. If there are, I will also keep an eye on whether anyone joins us in the audience. But right now there are no attendees, but I'll keep an eye on that in case there are questions.
Yeah, thank you. I can't see that. So I think sometimes Bruce can. Hello, everybody. This is Alex Hoare speaking, and this is a meeting of the Subcommittee on Land Use of the Conservation Commission. Today is February 4th, and it is 2 minutes past noon. We have an agenda which was posted, and I don't have it in front of me, but from memory, we're going to talk about whatever comments we might have received on things that have been provided to the commission for their review. And then we're going to continue a discussion about
Land use.
land use applications. And in there is also fee structure. And part of that is also bird banding. And then following that on the agenda was beavers. And I have been working on that. I'll come back to it. But so with that, I'll share my screen and we'll have a look at the changes I made. The draft I was working from have Bruce's comments and Michelle's comments embedded, and for the most part, they didn't get changed. So now I need to go back and share. Sharing is not turned on, Dave. It says send a request. So I have sent a request to share my screen.
Should be good.
Okay. Okay. So right at the top, the title of this file got a little messy and confusing. So I left the heading as it was, and I put in a current file name. It got so long that I couldn't save it, so I had to cut some stuff out, which didn't change anything. And so it's now, you can see the file name that I sent, and it is recorded here at the top of this document. I will note that Aaron in the past has wanted the date, or somebody suggested the date at the beginning of the file name, and we have been putting the dates at the end. It doesn't make any difference to me. And I'm gonna show that all of the comments that people have made in the past, going back to Laura originally, and Michelle a long time ago, Michelle more recently, Bruce more recently, are all still in here. And we're going to go through them one by one, and all this messiness in the middle is me working on the document, trying to, for the most part, make it conform with how we have written the other sections. For example, we use commission instead of conservation commission. So we had talked about this previously, and we started to talk at the top, and it became plain that I was not ready to discuss this document in terms of going down through the comments, and we're supposed to come to today's meeting prepared to go through the comments and address them. And hopefully by the end of this meeting, we will have taken care of them and eliminated them. And then we can talk about whether or not people agree with the track changes. And you should be seeing, what you're seeing in red are track changes. I'm going to begin, first of all, any general comments?
Yeah, I'm fine until paragraph 3.
Okay, so if you will bear with me, I'm going to start with the first comments at the top, which go to your hand. Yeah, okay, which go to Laura first, then Bruce, and then me. And there was um, so Laura was suggesting charging a fee for land use applications to cover administrative costs. Bruce agreed. And I wrote that administrative costs are high. I don't know what people think administrative costs are, but my experience when we figured out what we called biologist days, they're high. It's over $500 a day. And that's everything it takes to have the person on the job: furniture, lights, supervision, secretarial, so on. So I'm not sure what administrative costs are that we would be trying to cover. And so I didn't favor charging fees for reimbursing staff day costs, and they get lost to the general fund. And I brought this up before, and I would favor charging fees if they're deposited into and accounted for in a special account that's available for the benefit of conservation land. And I'll stop there for discussion.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Um, so about that fund, I thought that previously Aaron had mentioned that it does go into a conservation fund, but are we sure that it's going into a general fund? So I guess that's a question for Dave.
So fees, if the town, any department, any function of the town that has a fee or fee schedule, those fees go to the general fund. So a fee for inspecting an apartment, a fee for a land use permit like a NOI, they all go into the general fund. Um, there are
Right.
exceptions to that. If somebody makes a gift, for instance, I want to buy a tree, I want to buy a bench, I want to support Puffer's Pond, those can go into a special account, a gift account. Um, I, I haven't fully explored whether there's kind of a workaround to this. Like if we call it something different, can it go into a different account? So I I can explore that. I will say exploring these things with comptrollers and the accounting department can be challenging. So because they are not super supportive of gift accounts. Um, it's just not something that municipal accounting likes to do. So for instance, we have a Puffer's Pond gift account, and that's where the money for that is raised in the Puffer's Pond breakfast goes. But I will press that a little. Maybe there's a way if we called it something different. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think
so
that's why we were using the word donation previously, but
mhm.
maybe we came to that from the
Now
same.
now mitigation funds, mitigation requirements of the commission do go into a special account. They don't go into the general fund. I don't think we call them fees. We call them, what do we call them? Mitigation.
their compensation.
Yeah. So let me explore that a little bit more. Could I make a comment on this about reimbursement cost, Alex?
Sure.
Um, I guess I lean toward, and again, we'll get into this later, but I guess where I make a line is, let me contrast, you know, graduate student at UMass wants to do research on birds of prey on Amherst Conservation Land versus, let's use the movie. A movie wants to shoot at Puffer's Pond, a commercial movie, etc. I look at those two differently, and I think there's benefit to the town and there's benefit to data collection for that research of birds of prey, whereas a commercial venture on conservation land is, I just see it in a different light. So I'm in favor of fees for that, but I'm not in favor of charging a fee for a researcher or something like that. You know,
Okay. Dave, we're gonna talk about the fee schedule down below,
mhm.
and there's gonna be other issues in the second paragraph having to do with fees.
And so I just like to link that also to administrative costs. There's cost to everything. If I have a 45-minute chat with a researcher from UMass about what they're doing on conservation land, there's a cost to that. But I don't think we should charge that
Oh,
researcher.
when I was working for the Fish and Wildlife Service, we had to submit reimbursable agreements with the Corps of Engineers. And we had to figure out what our costs were. And we had to roll it all up, not just salary, benefits, leave, supervision, everything. The cost of having Dave Zomack at his desk on the job, all costs.
Yeah.
It was well over $500, and that was 7 years ago.
Mhm.
So when I look at somebody talking about staff costs, that's what I think about. And I can think differently, but that's where I come from.
Mhm.
Joe?
I guess I don't know that I see your point, Alex, that it's not actually representative of the true cost, but I don't know if it needs to be. I mean, it's some kind of offset that indicates that there is real effort from the town involved in the application.
I understand. I understand. And maybe it's just a choice of words, but I thought I better explain myself because that's what I wrote about.
Mhm.
Bruce?
I- For the most part, the way it's reflected in the schedule at the end is reflective of what I think is appropriate. It just, I mean, to a certain extent, the ones that have zero in that schedule are part of the way in which the conservation land gets used. So we're not charging for people to walk on the trails. We're not charging, for other things that are benefits of the conservation land. And it's just one aspect of it from my point of view.
Mhm.
So let's pick up this conversation when we get down to fee structure.
Okay.
Okay. Is it too early for me to ask if we can delete this comment? Or do I say
Well, I
that?
agreed with it, so I'm fine to delete it.
Wait,
Yeah.
about the insurance and liability, is it included? Because I mean, before we
Oops, I'm
delete.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
up at the top. No, I'm talking about the comment with Laura Perlich. Laura, I'm sorry, I got her name wrong. I can save deleting to the end.
I think we should do it as we go along.
Wait, we're deleting it, but we're rejecting her suggestion. Do we want to, is that what's happening? Because if so, we should probably track that somehow.
I sort of disagree with that. I think we should just finish the document, give it to them. If she wants to bring it up again, hey, what happened to my thing from 3 years ago? She can do that.
All right.
Um, okay, I hear Michelle. I can edit this comment and say that I don't know if we're rejecting
You
it.
know what you could do, Alex, is in those three dots next to the thumbs up, you can select
Yeah.
resolved, and then it becomes sort of invisible, but it allows it to be kind of archived.
Yeah,
Resolved.
that's what I was gonna say is
Okay.
preserve it, but get it out of the way so that we're one step closer to sending it to the commission. Okay, quick comment here from me is we refer to an appendix. And my question is, what appendix? There isn't such a thing right now and would need to be added.
So the appendix is I think, did I write that in? I don't know, but it should be the form that's available online. And I think we should all, as part of this, probably just take a look at that. I remember talking to Erin that I thought we should just review the content of it so that it included some of the stuff we're asking for in this and it was consistent with the content that we're requiring. So like, for example, well, you've all seen the land use request. I'm not sure if Erin has included some of the stuff about if this is a research project, please include like your methods and objectives. So that's all I was hoping to see with that. But that's I think the intent is just to tack on the actual land use application that people interface with at the end of this.
Yeah, so you provided a link
Okay.
right there. And I tried to go to that and I had to log in and get a password and it was late and I didn't do it. But what I did do is I created Appendix I with this land use application as the subject. So I don't quite know. I can put the link I can put the link in a footnote so that it's not lost, and also have the form in the Appendix I.
Sounds good.
You okay with that, Michelle?
Yeah, and I just think we should all take a look at the form and just make sure that it's consistent with the
Yep.
criteria that's here.
So I'm going to say resolved. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Alex, excuse me, you asked me to let you know there is one participant that has joined us. It, I believe, is Andre. So I don't know if you'd like to ask Andre if he would like to
Sure.
join us.
Sure.
Um, let me just see here.
Yeah. And we did get,
Andre, are you there? Would you like to
Yeah,
join
I'm
us?
here.
Would you like to join us? I'll keep you in the meeting here if you'd like.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to turn on the camera, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here with you. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I just noticed you there, but happy to have you join us.
Thanks.
Andre, we are going through edits on the land use applications section of the rules. And we've gone through we're going through the comments and trying to address them. And as we address them, we're clicking this resolve thread, which archives the comment so we don't lose it.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. I've been watching for about 5 minutes, and I
Yeah,
think your idea of putting that form in the appendix, the application in the appendix, is a great idea. That way, it's essentially it's archived there for everybody to see.
yeah, yeah. So we might have that link, as you heard, in a footnote.
Great.
Okay, so we're gonna go over to Michelle's comment. We had a discussion about MOUs for recurring events, and such as the Kestrel Trust and owl banding was an issue. And I wrote a reply to that. So we're going to, it's a good thing. Andre provided comments on the bird banding. So anyways, I spent too much time writing this, which I'll go through, because it expresses my feelings about MOUs. And I'll just begin. And Dave, you can be helpful here. I would generally support MOUs for events or programs that reoccur. That's where I come from initially.
Mhm.
Aside from bird banding, and we'll come back to that, it's not clear to me what reoccurring events or activities Kestrel Trust undertakes on conservation land that warrant bundling in an MOU to save us some amount of time annually. And I'm just ignorant. I don't know what Kestrel's doing on our property I do know they produce maps of our conservation land and put their name on it, which makes it look like it's their land. But that's a whole nother issue. So I'll pause here, Dave, and maybe Michelle knows. What kinds of things, you were enthusiastic about MOUs with Kestrel. What kinds of things would we put in there that they're doing on our land repeatedly?
I can answer that. So yeah, a few years ago when we partnered with Kestrel, this would be 5 or 6 years ago when they to locate their property adjacent to the Plumbrook Pond off of Bay Road. There's this assumption that they live there now, right? And they want to program their land, which is about 3 acres, and the adjacent conservation land. So I think what I've had conversations with Kristen DeBoer, their executive director, about is, you know, can we have a more fluid relationship with them? They want to, if you get their newsletter online or in print, you will see they want to do painting classes around the pond. They want to do bird banding. Yes, they want to do birding. Come to Sweet Alice Conservation Area. I don't know, whatever. Every Saturday morning, and we'll do a bird walk there. And they want it to be more fluid than, oh, they're doing these programs in this spring period. Do they need to come to the commission to ask permission for every one of those programs, essentially? So that's an example. They are also interested, and I've had many discussions with them over the past few years about helping us with trail maintenance. Is that an activity, or could that simply be an MOU? The Kestrel Trust and the Town of Amherst Commission and Department would collaborate on trail maintenance on the Robert Frost Trail and XYZ Trail. That to me, it could be a reoccurring thing. We could have a 3 to 5 year agreement with them where they help us maintain trails and bridges. Those are a couple of quick examples. One last one would be Amherst Recreation Department. They would like to, I don't know, do XYZ programming on 3 conservation lands. That could be an MOU with the Town of Amherst Recreation Department, as opposed to coming to us every time and asking permission.
Okay,
And this is separate from bird banding because I know there are strong feelings about bird banding.
so what I'm hearing is that as far as you're concerned, there are a number of repeating organized activities which otherwise they would have to come to the commission, and that would occupy a considerable amount of commission time, which may not be necessary if we took care of it in an MOU. And the last time we actually talked about this, I think we suggested that staff take a stab at drafting an MOU. And so hearing what you just said, I'll ask Bruce and Michelle what their feelings are and try and move forward.
I'm generally in favor of what Dave was describing. I think the staff should create a draft that could be used for different kinds of groups. Let us look at it, but mostly just let the policy is we agree there should be MOUs. Let the staff do most of the figuring out of how to do it.
Okay. Michelle?
I'm fine with that. I realize I was meant to draft some language, but it was going to be just a couple sentences anyway, because I think it should be vague enough to accommodate different uses and, have some discretion at the commission and staff level. But all the activities Dave mentioned, I feel could be rolled up in some kind of MOU with Kestrel, and I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
Can I give you one more example? We have had a 30 or 40 year relationship with Applewood, the Applewood community, started by Pete Westover with the Orchard Arboretum Conservation Area. And they contribute money toward that. They pay for the mowing of the arboretum. They pay for the planting there. So that would be another situation where we would craft an MOU with a committee there.
Michelle?
I guess I want to add that one thing I like about the MOU and being more inclusive of the activities is that I didn't know that what Dave just mentioned, or like many of the other things. So this at least would provide some clarity about the activities that are going on and maybe formalize it a bit more. So that's another attractive component to me of the MOU.
Andre?
Thanks. Yeah, I think MOUs are a great way to save time, to have in writing what expectations are and so on. I think MOUs should be specific to certain, to this activity or that activity, for example, not general for everything. And let's say this maintenance MOU, for example, should be specific to ensure that there's accountability. And let's suppose, and I don't want to use, I'll use this as an example, but just think of something similar. Let's suppose something like the bird banding that requires a permit, that we want to make sure they have that permit updated. There could be an MOU that says, look, you're allowed to do the bird banding until whatever year, or you're allowed to do X activity. You just need to present us at the beginning of each year a valid permit as required by whatever other institutions. But I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to leave MOUs as a general topic. It sounds like we think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm going to turn to my feelings about bird banding and give me a second to just go down through this, because this is my point of view, but this was not easy to write. So with regard to take of migratory birds, which is illegal without a federal permit, because banding constitutes take. And bird banding is the only activity on conservation land that requires a federal permit except the hunting of migratory birds. And although it may not happen a lot, and this is not in writing, but although it may not happen a lot, it is the only thing that requires a federal permit. And I don't think it's something to be glossed over. The federal permit is only issued to individuals who meet certain criteria or standards. And the permittee is held responsible for the well-being of the birds while in possession. And the commission has several choices as far as I'm concerned in how to proceed here. The first is the easiest. It can say nothing in its rules and regulations about bird banding and just be silent on the issue. That would be easy. B, it can simply say that bird banding is authorized on conservation land by those who are authorized to band birds under a current federal permit. That would also be easy. And C is it can rule that bird banding on conservation land requires written permission from the commission, for which an application must be filed. For a number of reasons, I support the latter. C. If warranted to save time annually, permission to band on conservation land could be granted to the federal permittee through an MOU. However, I think it would be inappropriate for the commission to grant permission to ban birds on conservation land to a person or entity that has not been issued a federal permit to do so. And primarily because you can't hold them responsible. it just is, to me, misleading. I'll come back to that. Finally, bird banding is substantial enough to warrant highlighting in this section. And Michelle did put in a line, which isn't up on the screen yet, that's a one sentence that says that bird banding requires federal permits. So an application form could be provided in the appendix. And I hadn't gone down far enough to see that Michelle had provided a link and so on. So when I was writing this, an application form could be provided in the appendix as well as in the general conditions of any permit that the Conservation Commission may issue. So I'll open it up, and without getting into a big discussion about just reiterating what I just said and trying to keep short on I disagree or I agree, just I'd like to focus on our options, A, B, or C, because it could be that you folks favor some either A or B, and that would make all this short work. So I'll just open it up. Bruce, you're on mute.
I know so little about this that I'm going to yield to the rest of you to work this out.
Michelle?
I think I favor B, so that we authorize it as long as someone is authorized by the federal government, and that is because we don't regulate who is qualified to bird band. We just regulate what happens on our land. So they've already gone through the process of federal permit. I'm comfortable letting the feds handle that and us allowing or not allowing the activity specifically on the land. So B, I think that's where it puts me.
So I did send, I'll come back to you, Andre. I did send a sample permit to you folks last night, along with this thing you're looking at on the screen. That happens to be, I wasn't able to didact personal information. So it happens to be Randy Dittmer's bird banding permit issued by USGS, by the bird banding lab. And so I would appreciate it if you wouldn't circulate that just because it's got his name in it. I know it's a public document. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I just give him the courtesy of privacy. And I could bring it up on the screen, but if you had looked at it, it doesn't say anything beyond the person's name and what they're authorized to do. Use mist nets, ban birds. His permit says that endangered species are not included. And then he lists two people as subpermittees who are banding birds under his permit. And the permit that I provided is the permit that he uses to ban birds on Silvio Conti land during the spring. And during the spring, where he invites people to join him from the Fish and Wildlife Service and students at UMass. And so Andy is the master bander and is in charge of putting up the nets and making sure that everything is the way it should be. The permit does not provide site-specific conditions, which is why I chose C. And my personal feeling is that the commission has every right to condition what happens on its land. And that's why I favored C. Andre, you want to say something? I can see your hand up, so I'll just.
Yeah, I don't have it up, but I do want to say something. I think that the conservation land, the committee or the Conservation Commission is responsible for what happens on conservation land. And if we say, yes, if you have a permit, you can go ahead and do your thing, which is B, then we have no oversight on it, and we haven't determined whether or not these people have a permit. So I think C is what I would opt for, giving the commission essentially the ability to oversee whether or not people are properly permitted, and then let go from there. I don't, you know, and again, I would suggest that we have some wording in there that it be done in accordance with the federal permit and its conditions. Just like we have conditions on our on what we do, the federal government, the Fish and Wildlife, puts conditions on the permits they issue.
Yeah.
And typically you'll have the face of the permit. I'm not seeing what you see, what you have in your hand, but I've reviewed hundreds of these. You have the face of the permit, and then it has 1 or 2 extra pages of what Aaron likes to call the boilerplate conditions, and then which are general conditions, and then there's special conditions depending. But the point being that that I think that the commission or the town should ensure that number 1, people are properly permitted, and number 2, if they aren't, that the town can go after them for not having done so. That there should be a regulation that says they have to have it. Let me explain quickly why. As a special agent with Fish and Wildlife Service for a full career, I was tasked with enforcing the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, including the permitting. And the permits were such low priority that we hardly ever dealt with them. We left that to the states, and the states don't typically have a lot of energy for that either. You know, so it can end up that a violation like that is left to whomever can enforce. And I don't think I would want to be a commissioner or a townsperson here and watch somebody come in and violate the Migratory Bird Treaty Act on a permitting issue and not have the option to address that legally. I hope that makes sense. And if you guys have questions about that, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, I don't know whose hand was up first. I think Michelle.
Thanks. I mean, I guess I'm in agreement with you and Andre about C, as in we would always be doing like a site specific and an application specific permit with anybody, like we do with everything. And so I did roll into the land use application for research and monitoring that there needs to be proof of the permit provided, and that we could, and I think Alex, you and I both added language about you know, additional considerations in there. I don't know if you can bring it up. So I'm in agreement with you, but I think because this is a land use application and we're treating it like all land use applications, of course, we're going to make, you know, event specific criteria, as we always do. So maybe there isn't a huge difference between C and D if we're treating this as a land use application under the research and monitoring guidelines that are written into this plan. Does that make sense? I think
Totally.
we're in agreement with what we want, but I didn't mean to say that if you have a permit, come do whatever you want. Of course, we'll say, here's not the best place to do it because there's a wetland here. We don't want you bringing birds like, you know, 500 feet away, et cetera, et cetera. So I assume that we'd be conditioning the event always, as we always do.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes all kinds of sense. I just feel like if we felt the need to actually enforce something, we would need to have that codified.
Okay, so Bruce?
I agree with where you've ended up.
Okay, so I now have on the screen, Andre, I think others can see Randy Dittmer's permit, federal bird banding permit issued by USGS and USGS Bird Banding Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. So you notice Randy's name is mentioned. He happens to work for the Division of Migratory Birds here in Hadley. And under here, it gives him permission to band passerines, near passerines, threatened and endangered species not included in the state of Massachusetts. And he's authorized to band, use mist nets, and there's some restriction there. And then that's all that it's authorizing. It's pretty general. And it doesn't, it names here an individual, it names another individual here, says what he's authorized to do under Randy's permit. And then we go to the backside, page 2, and here are the boilerplate conditions in fine print that I listed. I wrote a whole thing on conditions, and I lifted these right here along with some other things. So this is the permit that we're talking about, and you can see it in very specific, and there's lots of room for the commission to require additional conditions. Dave?
Yeah, I'm generally in agreement where all of you are. I guess I wanted to kind of encourage us to, if possible, to move on to some degree. I mean, the number of requests we actually get for bird banding is kind of extremely small compared to other requests we get. So it's not a very common thing. So it doesn't happen very often in my 20 years of working with the town. So I think sounds like we're all kind of in agreement that the commission has and should have as much control as the commission would like and as much detail and documentation as you see fit. So
Okay.
I think it's good.
So what do you see on your screen now? Do you see the document with track changes, or do you still see the permit?
We'll see the permit.
Okay, I'll go back to that. I'll stop sharing that screen unless somebody has some question about it. But Bruce and Michelle have that. And Andre has seen lots of them, so he knows what they are, except they're not issued by the Fish and Wildlife Service. They're issued by USGS.
Got it.
There is an Office of Migratory Birds that issues lots of permits under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. But anyways, so now I'm going to go back to this. I'm not an expert at sharing. Okay. So I'm going to say for us, I'm hoping that how can I get this? I don't seem to be able to get the resolved button pushed, but I'll just assume that it's resolved and move on. We have a comment here from, why is my review, share. You can see the document with track changes, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got some fuzzy stuff on the bottom of the screen and I'm not able to highlight the comment we're working on, but this has to do with Michelle's comment about adding Insurance liability requirements, additional insurance coverage is a condition of approval. Bruce agreed. I'm in agreement, and that comment goes, I think, here.
I just to not lose track of that, that should probably be stated in the land use application somewhere, like in underwriting or fine print or whatever. Just
Okay, so how about in the application?
yeah, right, the land use application. I mean, I'm kind of surprised it isn't already, so maybe it is. It just kind of seems standard, unless there's some reason why we don't need it, but
Yeah, I got a signal that I'm short on memory, so my machine is having problems. I think what I might do is minimize my turn off my camera. And maybe that'll give me some room to work. Okay, I'm just gonna make a note to add insurance. To the application. Okay. I'm not able to edit this right now. Bruce has a comment about college university. This is where Michelle added in she said university, and he says college researchers plan to meet certain standards on animal care. I don't see a problem with that. Any comments? And are you seeing the green type clearly on your screen?
Yes,
Okay.
Alex, could you pause on the comment you made before? Oh, you took out university affiliated, correct? Because researchers, there could be many different sources of those researchers, right?
Well, I didn't add university or college, and I was going to take out those words when I was working on it last night and just have researchers.
so
And
can I just
then
can
I
I just
thought,
explain that? It's because it's
then I,
specific
then
to
I,
the animal care and use.
then I thought that Michelle knew that the animal care and use only pertains to
Hmm.
education facilities that have to meet that. And
So would Amherst College have to do that, Michelle?
I don't know, but probably, so I'm
So
fine
that's
with
that's why I wondered whether taking out university and just putting researchers.
well, because a
Uh,
researcher could be like a USGS researcher and they wouldn't have to do animal care and use. So
Uh,
so I don't know the extent of it. I just know that at UMass you have to do, like universities, you do have to do it. So probably you would have to do it at Amherst College, but I don't know what they do there.
what about maybe researchers affiliated with scientific or educational institutions who plan to hold or manipulate blah blah blah?
yeah,
Or I can,
more words to say the same.
I'm just gonna Google it while you guys are talking.
Okay.
one other example would be, what about Mass Fish and Game, putting transmitters on turtles? Do they have to
So
do
they
they
need
need natural
permit.
heritage permits? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
I think we're okay there.
I
sure.
think so. Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So then we got, we're into we are now down through all the text.
Now,
And
sorry, there's one where it says, no, it's at the top of page 3. It says, now it's at the bottom of page 2, scrolling up a little, where it says invasive plants including, and then there was nothing there.
I know, I have a comment that says including what, and I put
Yeah.
I put a strikeout line through it.
Okay, that's fine.
That was Michelle typing, and I think she just
That's fine.
had a
Just
word processing artifact.
invasive plants, period, is good. Thank you.
Okay, so now we are into fee structure, which is the last part of this section. And I have to tell you, I hope that's okay on your screen. The bottom half of my monitor is fuzzy. Okay, I made a comment. Could a minimum fee be charged for these topics, activities to cover staff day costs incurred by towns, staff day costs consistent? And this is just the same comment I made before. Dave commented on it. We've really kind of hashed this one over. And we said we'd pick it up again when we get to the fee structure. So I'm not quite sure how to go at this. Go down through the text. Go down.
Let's just,
Go down through the comments. I want to go as quickly as possible. We're looking at 12:53. Michelle, do you have to go?
I have to go at
well,
12. No, I think I can stay, actually.
I'm in favor of the way the fee structure is written, with the understanding we may change the word fee for some reason, but I like the numbers fine.
Andre, you had your hand up. You took it down.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be up.
Okay.
It was up from the last
Is
time.
it easier to go down through the text rather than the comments, sort of reverse order? The text, there's a lot of comments. I don't want to burn up a lot of time. If we can get through this first, just looking at the text. Bruce says he's fine with the numbers. I don't quite understand the $500, and
I'm withdrawing it.
Okay, up here, I put a line through, will be required to make a $500 to $1,000 deposit. Because I thought this could be handled under fee structure, because no other fees are deposited or talked about in this introductory sentence paragraph. So the deposits are not under. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Is there? Could we change the title here? Structure of fees and deposits for land use applications.
Sure, and put deposit as the first part, separate from the fees.
And then I had a question about who is charged such a high fee or a high deposit, and I just think of some activities that, like Boy Scouts or something, that and I thought, well, they'll handle it on a case by case basis, and I let it go. Michelle?
I don't know where the numbers came from. So we've had like UMass fundraisers. UMass is a nonprofit, so there's that. Yeah, I don't really have the institutional knowledge to field this one.
So could we say something about under fee structures or deposits? Could we say something about a deposit may be required as much as, and I don't like saying 500 to 1,000. I'd rather have one number. As much as $1,000 on a case by case basis, and then give the rationale.
Yeah, I like that
That
because,
works.
yeah,
Okay. And then,
Or up to $1,000.
yeah, same idea.
Mhm.
I like it.
And, okay, I'll make a note to do that. And then number 6, I struggled with this wording and I just stumbled over it. I had to read it about 6 times. I just think it's poor wording, but I didn't have the patience at that hour to straighten it out.
leave it to the editor.
Okay.
Who's the editor?
Well, probably Aaron at some point, and then whether the town has other editing things, I don't know, but
I
I
think
just,
we're the editors.
The town attorney is going to go through this entire
right,
document.
there's that too.
So can I just comment on this one, Alex? Sorry. So I think there is some discussion about this before because it says for-profit events where a fee is being charged. And then I just commented that sometimes there are events put on by a for-profit organization where there is no fee being charged. And do we consider those the same as some event where you have to pay to get in? And this one I think is confusing in that way. So if we want it to be so this only applies to an event where a fee is being charged. And I just wanted to point out that there could be a scenario where a for-profit event is held without a fee. Or like, for example, the movie. It was a for-profit event that made a lot of money, but there was no fee being charged. So I'm just trying to make sure we consider all the scenarios.
My problem with number 6 is there's no punctuation, no transition between thoughts. And it says for-profit event where fee is being charged, fee 20% of fee being charged. I couldn't follow the logic.
I think this has probably just been cut and pasted over the
Yeah.
time we've been working on this. So
Okay.
I have a different view now, so, but let Andre go.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend something simple, for-profit events, then semicolon. And go from there, and then include a clause saying these fees may be waived upon consultation with the commission, allowing the commission essentially to weed out those that shouldn't be that a fee shouldn't be applied to. For example, the filming that you just mentioned, or contrast that with I don't know, with some other event that they're just I don't know, taking a picture about a for-profit venture. But I think simplifying the beginning of it, for-profit events or commercial events or something like that, without the complication of where a fee is being charged, and then address it later on if needed.
I have a different thought here.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Dave was,
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm
One of you.
not trying to sidestep this, but as I was listening to you all and thinking about previous conversations we've had about this, I feel as though there's so many different scenarios under this category that I don't think we can describe every one of them. And I'm not trying to push this off or sidestep it, but I almost think it's going to be on a case by case basis. You could make a statement about for-profit events require a permit and may have a fee up to $1,000, but I'm thinking of the movie. I'm thinking of yoga courses, martial arts, the photographer we had back in the fall. I mean, I don't know as we can take all of those to the end, because what about that kayak lessons on Puffer's Pond? What do we do with them? So I almost think it's going to be on a case by case basis. And to Michelle's point, there may be a for-profit event where nobody's charging a fee, so I guess I'm advocating for stating that for-profit events will be treated differently. They will be required. They will require an application, and the commission will decide on a case-by-case basis to if they will charge a fee. I don't know. That's just my quick
Okay.
take.
Yeah, I was wondering if we even have to say anything except something simple like Dave was just talking about. Bruce?
I agree.
That's about the fees. I'm going to go back to the question of a deposit. Because when I look at numbers 1 through 6, they all have the potential to cause harm to the conservation land. The purpose of a deposit is that we get to extract some money to fix whatever the problem is they caused. And it could happen to any of those. Therefore, I think separate from fees, there should be a deposit, like $500, no matter what it's about. And they get, we'll say within 30 days, you get your deposit back if there's not a problem.
There's bookkeeping costs on administrative costs for the town.
Okay.
And,
So
well,
I raise it as a proposal then.
so that'll have to clear accounting and all that kind of stuff, but we can put that in.
Okay.
Michelle?
I mean, I agree with Bruce that deposits are a good idea. I think the scale, didn't we write it in up to 1,000 so that maybe it could still be done on case by case basis, so that, a wedding that's very small might not have to have 500 necessarily. So it's case by case, but definitely deposit. I just want to mention sort of one thing more broadly that, in our experience in evaluating these, and what can take a lot of time is hemming and hawing over what those numbers are that are appropriate. So if we leave like the fee structure too vague, then it's always up to the commission to figure out what that is, and we're always establishing our new guidelines to find that correct number, which is probably fine, but sometimes it's nice to have some guidance or precedent. So in cases where we can provide some reasonable guidance that's agreed upon here by us now, that could save some deliberation in meetings and hopefully make our decisions more consistent. So I don't have a specific example to give. This is just sort of from the lens of, actually reviewing these and what it's like to review when we have vague guidelines versus at least we can say, oh, we had established this in our policy that, we have grounds to ask for a 20%, or we have a grounds to ask for a $500 deposit is a lot easier than making it up every time at each meeting.
So if do we have a commission meeting tomorrow?
No.
Okay. How about if I take a stab based on what I'm hearing and write something and get it out to you, and you guys can tell me how to make it better.
Sure.
I can't send it to you, Andre, because you're not a member of the committee, but and I have to be concerned about deliberation and all that kind of stuff. But so don't feel bad if I don't send it to you. But how about if I draft something and try and make this work a little better with what I'm hearing, and then
Sure.
we'll come back. But my goal is to get this finished up so that it gets to Erin in time to get into the package to go to the commission at their next meeting.
Thank you, Alex. That'd be great.
Andre?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Alex, could I add one thing really
Sure.
quick? I would very much like to see more advance notice. We skipped over it, but
I'm
it
going up
says,
to I'm going up to the text now.
yeah, it says, where does it say that? somewhere it says get it.
It says by the Wednesday before the next commission meeting.
Yeah, I think that is unrealistic. I think you should, because that also assumes to the applicant that you're going to consider it at your next meeting and they might get a decision. And I think it's quite unrealistic actually, because these first have to go through a staff review where we make a recommendation to you, thumbs up, thumbs down, we have concerns, whatever. So getting it the Wednesday before, having time for Aaron to get it on the agenda for staff to review it, it's not a lot of time. And most of these, there's plenty of advance notice. It's not like we don't have a lot of people go, oh, I'm going to do research out of the blue. They're thinking months ahead. So I would, give yourself and staff more time.
So that's how hold on, Bruce. As I was working on this last night, the sentence land use applications must be submitted to the conservation, to the commission on or before. I even had trouble with saying to the commission because it's really to staff.
Comes into the staff to go to the commission. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's an online form. So I would say 30 days.
that's fine.
We've been caught
You got
collectively.
it.
We've been caught with, oh my God, I want to start this and I want to start next Friday. And we're like, wait a minute, you're putting
Unless
us in a
somebody,
very difficult situation.
unless somebody objects, I'll put in 30 days.
Yeah, that's great.
Well,
Okay.
I think it should be 30 days or maybe even 60 days before the date of the event.
Whatever the town wants, whatever the town
Your
wants.
call. I think 30 days prior to the date of the event can work.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make that change. And so I'm gonna go up to the top and keep in mind, I can't see the red very well and I'm not able to make changes in my computer as you talk, but I will, oops, there we go. It just came in. Good. Maybe can I make a change? Can I actually type something? Yeah, I can. Good. Can we quickly go down? Let's see, merged. Can we quickly go down through my edits? I'm sorry that the formatting and delete, I can probably get rid of. Review, track changes. Hold on and get rid of it, move this. Track changes. Get rid of formatting. Okay. I'm just going to go paragraph by paragraph. If you haven't read it, I'll give you time and ask that you say something if you have a problem with the edit. And I'll just say in most cases, it's trying to make their editorial. There's no change of substance that I was aware of. So I'm going to go just paragraph by paragraph. First paragraph. Are you okay with the changes?
Yes.
Okay. Michelle?
Yeah.
Second paragraph.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question, and because I did say will be equal opportunity. And my thinking was that equal opportunity means everything in the IE. I kept everything that was original because somebody thought dearly about it. But I wonder, is the IE even necessary? Is equal opportunity mean
I'd
everything?
leave it the way you have it.
Good. Okay, that's fine. Next.
Third paragraph, there's some changes that are going to happen from that we already talked about.
Third paragraph begins land use applications must be submitted. I've got that to change that to staff for delivery to the commission for consideration of the commission. 30 days prior to the event.
Okay,
Next paragraph begins, for any activity seeking
Yep.
written permission.
fine.
Basically, all I did was take them out of the paragraph, put them as numbered things, and add proper references. Michelle,
Looks good.
the next paragraph, groups may be required. There's no change there. A group, next paragraph, a group's past use.
Yep.
I'm fine with that. Alex, it looks to me like the paragraph concerning the Animal Care Use Committee got deleted. Oh, no, there it is. No, it came direct in the copy that you sent this morning or yesterday. It came directly after the 1 through 7 thing. Oh, maybe I'm jumping ahead too far. I'm sorry. My fault. I withdraw.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, sorry.
A group's past use or abuse.
Fine.
There's only one change there.
I'm going to step away just for a moment, just have to deal with one thing, but
Okay, Dave. The next one is the commission welcomes research and monitoring,
Good.
and all the bullets are included in your current consideration. That's got a bunch of changes by Michelle.
For consistency, you might have periods at the end of the third and fourth bullets.
Yeah, I tried to catch those. There is a period after the second bullet. There is no period after the
Right.
fourth. I can put that in. I'm not quite sure what's happening here, but I'm not sure where I am. I'm having problem with just moving my pointer. Let's not waste time on it. I'll catch it. Next paragraph, land use applications for the purpose of research.
It doesn't say for a purpose of research. It just says purpose research. For the purpose of research.
Yep.
Right there, yeah.
Can I make a comment on this one? Number 7, it feels, I don't know, a little,
Oh, hold on just a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not quite, I'm not quite sure where my pointer is. And I think I may have made a change that I'm not aware of. I'll catch it. Number 7, yeah, go ahead.
it just feels strange to me, and I was just wondering if anybody else thought it was odd.
I accepted it the way it was written and the activity was yours change.
Yeah, I mean, so the land use application, so basically, okay, so what we're asking here is there's going to be like a question on the land use application itself was like a checkbox that says, is this activity related to for-profit gain or commercial enterprise?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Doesn't seem that odd. If anything, I'd add, please explain. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually had a problem with that. There was number 7. I left it alone because frankly, you guys had looked at it and actually thought to make changes, but this topic is research and monitoring. And I'm not sure, I don't know of that research and monitoring for profit is Are you talking about a consulting firm doing the work?
I mean, I'm not talking about anything exactly. Let me think of it. I'm not sure.
Who does
I,
research and monitoring for profit?
I suppose you could be
Um,
paid to gather data of some sort,
Hmm.
like historical data or something like that. But again, I think it's a little weird, but
I think
Yep.
it's part of the group.
If you consider all the medical research, all that kind of stuff, that's all research for profit. Any kind of uh, tech research, somebody could call trying out a certain type of drone as research. Um, I do think, though, that that number 7 there, first of all, isn't it already in the application? If it is already in the application, a question of is it a for profit or not, then I don't think that it needs to be stated that the applicant has to fill it out, because they got to fill it out anyway.
So are you suggesting that we could delete number 7?
Absolutely. That's just my
as long as it's in
opinion.
somewhere,
It's up, the whole profit question is up above.
you know.
Yeah, it's just a little redundant and worded oddly.
Yeah, I didn't mess with it. Michelle, can we delete this?
Here's me.
Okay.
Okay. Go
So be it.
ahead.
So I am now down to university affiliated researchers, and that's supposed to be university / college affiliated.
Correct.
I have some clarity. This is the UCAC, whatever. Um, can we just maybe say when applicable or something? So I looked up the Animal Care and Use Committee, and it's activities related to research or education. So we're probably right by saying that, but I don't know if we're being exclusive of the entire kinds of institutions and organizations that would need this. So I think is like as applicable instead of calling out university or college, or it might be educational
Yeah.
research institutions. I just don't want to say, I don't know who needs to use it, but it seems more broadly used than I had thought. So
So let's just say researchers who plan to hold blah, 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 blah.
and educators, it's both.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the laws that I enforced in the past, fish and wildlife laws, they always the words are educational and scientific institutions, and that's pretty clear. But if you want to leave it at just researchers, it could be any researcher.
Educational and what?
Scientific and educational institutions, or purposes as well,
Yeah.
depending on which whether you're referring to the institutions themselves or the purpose of their actions.
I think that's great language.
Scientific and educational institutions or purposes.
Or if you just write researchers or research for scientific and educational institutions or purposes, you choose and move on from there.
Research by scientific or educational institutions or purposes.
Yeah, I would say for scientific or educational purposes. So the preposition being for.
Research for scientific and or educational purposes.
There you go.
Okay, I'll put that in. Okay, so we are at 1:21 now. Coming to a close. Are we down at the bottom? Oh, yeah, we jumped up to clarify some stuff. So I think we're done with this document except to address Michelle's bottom there. We've got, hold on, fee structure. We didn't actually go down through A through E. I added photography because of the situation we had with photography, and we did change commercial use to give opportunity for the commission to waive the prohibitions of commercial use, and photography was, and nature experiences and a bunch of other things were used as examples. So I added photography.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah,
Well, there we go. Vote to the town's gift fund, for example, but not inclusive of, because there might be something else we don't think of.
that's the problem with lists.
Yeah.
So you could put F, other such events.
Fine, or actions or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything to have an F with other.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and under commercial use, I think we even said activities that don't do harm to the land.
Mhm.
I didn't go back and refresh my memory on that. That was another section. So it's now 124. So action items, I have some changes to make. I'm gonna send those to Bruce and Michelle. And with the idea that this goes before the commission for its review and comment at its next meeting. And action item is that Amherst staff is going to take a stab at what an MOU would look like. And with Kestrel perhaps. And we're also suggesting Applewood. Dave?
Returned.
Yeah, those are examples. Yes, I guess I'm not sure I can commit to the most timely. I'm going to defer to our town council on those because there are some kind of legally binding things on that. So I will ask our town council, town attorney. So I guess I see that as kind of parallel but separate from this committee. Are we really, we're not looking for the commission to approve each MOU during this process, right? I guess that's a question I'm putting out.
Yeah.
Because I really don't have the time right now to engage with Kestrel and engage with Applewood and engage with any other
Yep.
users of
Yep.
conservation land on
Yep.
MOUs right this moment.
Yeah.
Could be something for the future.
So I'll as part of my finishing this up, I'll go back and make sure we have MOU language in here. I'm not quite sure where it is, but I'll make sure something's in there. And
Sounds good.
what I will do is, I didn't hear any word changes being requested as we went down through, except additions, but no changes to the red letters. So, I will accept all changes and then I will add the language that you folks have asked for, and I will yellow highlight it when it goes out to you, so you don't have to figure out where the changes were made. Michelle?
That sounds good. Thank you, Alex. And just per the MOUs, would a reasonable way to approach that just be that we trigger the MOU process once somebody starts beginning some kind of project or activity, as if they were going through a land use permit?
Well, if I could answer that, I mean, I would suggest that since we've had organizations, keep in mind this subcommittee that you're on was started at my urging to clarify a lot of these issues that have been going on for years and years, not necessarily all bad, most of them good. So part of that is these kind of ongoing long-term relationships, like with Kestrel, like with Applewood. So I would just suggest that I will initiate a draft MOU with Kestrel and with Applewood and anyone else that might be in that similar category and present it to the commission in some months ahead for your review and consideration. And we'd certainly have Kestrel come in and present something to the commission,
But, okay, that's fine, but still have a sentence or two in this document.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes. About MOUs,
right.
what things will go to MOU, what things will just be a land use application with the following,
Right.
considerations.
So a sentence like that might go at the top where it's saying, use of land for scheduled events research must be requested through the commission, and then maybe in this first paragraph have a sentence about events which are reoccurring, may be suitable for memorandums of agreement.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so we have, in our meeting on February 18, we have, a guest speaker and who's going to talk about hunting in Northampton. And I should, probably I should say something to the commission that she's going to be here. There's a delicacy here because she didn't want to talk to the whole commission. And, but I would just as soon not have some on the commission say that we were silent on the issue. So this is a little awkward because if we put out a notice to the commission that she's going to be here on her own behest to talk about their experiences with hunting on conservation land, and footnote, they haven't had any experience because there's never been hunting allowed on conservation land in Northampton except land owned by Mass Fish and Wildlife. But if we all of a sudden have the full commission listening to the committee, I've got a deliberation issue, number one. And number two, I put her in an awkward position because she said she didn't want to appear before the full commission. So I'm looking for some guidance on what to do here, including you, Andre. You still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
I have a suggestion.
You
But
guys
go
all
ahead.
discuss it and I'll give you my opinions as well.
I have to go. And I just want to say before I go that again, I don't know if this is like a perfect fit for our intentions of this speaker series thing. So if you also decide that she doesn't need to talk, that's fine. Just let me know. But I won't be here for February 18th. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bruce?
So my suggestion is that we ask the rest of the commission to appoint one of their members to represent the rest of the commission at a meeting where they can't vote or do anything, but they can comment or participate. And that we would also commit to giving, a brief but careful summary of what got said at the subcommittee meeting, sort of a set of bullet points about, well, what has Northampton learned that would be useful in this discussion arena of the full commission.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've set up, I wasn't part of this conversation, so I haven't talked with her. And Michelle did. So when I do up the agenda, it'll be a half hour we'll give her 10 or 15 minutes to tell her story, and the remainder of the time will be available for Q&A.
That works.
Can I jump in, Alex?
Yeah.
I think that works. I guess I would encourage you, Alex, to be in touch with Michelle, since Michelle made the contact I know she had to run now, and our next meeting is during school vacation week, so that can be a challenging week for people traveling or being away with their kids because they're on school break. So having said that, I think that's fine. But yeah, I think Bruce's idea is a good one and a fine one. I will remind everyone that the three of you are the commission's representative to this commission. It's fine. If Andre wants to join that meeting on the 18th, that's fine too. If more members want to join, then we need it calls into question, we should let this person know so she's not surprised. But two, we should post it as a full commission meeting, which again, to Alex's earlier point, does kind of complicate it. And I don't want to put this person in a position that she's not comfortable in, since we said, oh, come to the subcommittee, which I presume seemed less than the full commission. I also think we can remind the commission that they can watch the video afterward. It's recorded in perpetuity, so that's always an option too.
Yeah, so Dave, and I'll get to you in a minute, Andre, but with regard to deliberation, as soon as we have a quorum of the commission, I'm in danger of deliberating without public notice.
Yes, yeah,
So
and we
could one of the rule, I want to stay away from that. I don't want to come to the edge of that rule. I want to be clear of that rule. And if we tell whoever is joining that they're free to ask questions, but we're not here to deliberate hunting. We're here to listen to and ask questions to Northampton about their experiences. And I need some guidance on where the line is there on deliberation. I don't frankly know.
Well, I don't know enough about it to answer either, but I like where you ended up. I think we should just double check with the counsel or the attorney, whoever is relevant to give the guidance we need for that.
Okay, I can ask. Erin is typically on these matters having to do with the commission. It goes through her with my permission. So let us find out from town attorney this issue. I mean, I think we're skirting it a little bit. Honestly, we're right on the cusp of it here because we actually have 4 members of the commission of a 7-member body at these meetings. So, and there is deliberation here. So I think you're right, Alex, to be a bit concerned. I am a bit concerned too, and it's nobody's fault, but we have, 4 interested members of a 7-member body. That is a quorum. So,
So it's
even
What if
I
there's no voting being occurring? First of all, I'm not voting, and
yeah, these are questions we need to ask the attorney, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. My suggestion, if you don't mind, now that I got a quick turn, if that's okay, my suggestion is that this is an issue that that affects all of us, and either open it to all commissioners who want to be there and listen and ask questions, and we can ask questions without actually making statements or deliberating. That's my, the attorney will be the ultimate decider of that. But I think either we all have the opportunity to hear this person and ask questions of them, or they don't come. If they don't want to if they don't want to answer questions or whatever of the full committee, what good is it that they're doing? They're not being, I understand that someone may not just want to be kind of scrutinized or whatever. But I mean, this is something that affects all of us. So why is it that the subcommittee is going to talk to them? And this came after we had decided that we were going to invite different people to the full commission. So that's what I'm putting out there. I feel like we should all be able to hear this person and ask questions.
So there's two things there. Hear this person, and
And-
ask questions.
Yes, and I mean both of them.
Yeah, I know you do. I'll just go back to the issue of deliberation. That's something that goes as high as Paul Bockelman, being careful about the open meeting law. So, and when we have a quorum, that's why we say that visitors can ask questions, but they can't vote. Anyways, we try to make things as available as possible and do the dance to stay away from deliberation. But I've already said I'm looking for guidance from Dave and the attorney and how to do this correctly.
I have a new suggestion. I think, given the complications and the difficulties, I think that Alex should work with Michelle to withdraw the request for the person to come, and that we would look for somebody else from some other town that, in effect, does not allow hunting to come to the full commission as one during some part of the education process.
Yeah, Michelle's not here, and
But later, you could work with her.
yeah, I hear you. I'm not sure we'll carry that out.
All right, that's a suggestion.
Yep. Andre, before you speak, I can tell you the little bit of background that I have is that I believe and I could be wrong, but I believe when the person in Northampton who's said yes to Michelle, but didn't want to appear before the full commission, is that she might have been concerned about all of a sudden starting a huge conversation in Northampton. And I don't know that that's a fact. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, let me just make sure that okay, I'm not muted. I'll say it again. It's something that that concerns us all, and something that we had agreed to do for the full commission, meaning bring people in to talk. Now, to say that the subcommittee is going to have a meeting with a speaker that we can't ask questions of, or we're trying to figure out whether they can be there or whether we can attend it or not, makes it a little difficult to agree to. What's that?
Yeah, Andre, those were my opening words. So
What?
We didn't say couldn't ask questions. We never said that.
That's what we're deliberating, right? That's what we're talking about right now, right? So what I'm saying is that if we can't ask questions, and if we're not, we can't attend.
No, I want to correct you. Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
We have not said cannot ask questions. I'm asking for guidance.
My statement was that if we are saying that we cannot ask questions, and if we are saying that we cannot attend, then I don't believe that that there should be somebody coming in to talk.
Yeah, but so far we haven't said either one of those. Dave?
I am saying, if you hear what I'm saying that I don't agree with somebody coming if that's the case, and okay, that's where I leave it. It's not something. I'm just telling you what my opinion is here.
I got it.
So it's not something that you don't. Anyway, that's where it is. That's what I think.
Dave.
So I want to
and remember, I'm sorry, one more thing.
Sure.
That the subcommittee is chartered by the full commission. And as we've heard, I don't know, a lot of times, the subcommittee is there to save us time, but it's not there to speak on its own without, without it speaking for all of us. So we should all be, we all have a vested interest in it. And I think that if you ask the other folks, they would say that they want the option to be there and ask questions if needed.
Nobody is denied access to this meeting, Andre.
I'm
I
running out
know,
of
but
time.
we're discussing whether to do that or not. And that's why I'm giving you my opinion, so that you take that into account when you're making these decisions.
Okay, so I've heard you 4 or 5 times say the same thing.
All right, but you come back and you say the same thing to me.
Gentlemen, I have to leave. So can we get to a place where we know what we're doing next?
So yeah, I need to end this meeting, and I think I'm the host, and we're about 15 minutes over time. I kind of agree with Bruce that I think we ought to diplomatically thank the staff person from Northampton and say we're not ready for this conversation at this time. We appreciate you making the offer, but we put a pause on this. And I say that, one, because of Andre's comments about what we agreed about where this conversation would happen, and two, there really is no proposal before this subcommittee about hunting. The full commission sent it back, and it so we're in an education mode is all I'm saying. We're not in a voting mode. We don't have a new draft. We're simply gathering information, and we can do that at the full commission level. And I did agree to reach out to some towns to ask if any of their staff might be willing to come. I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet, to see if they might come and talk about their experience with hunting. But that is on my desk to do. So I'm kind of
So,
in favor of
yeah, so
politely thanking this person from Northampton.
to close this conversation, it was when Andre wanted speakers to come, we had agreed that for education purposes, there would be speakers come before the full commission. And it is awkward because this person is coming or is lined up to come before the subcommittee for education purposes. And that is cross purposes for what we agreed to. So I'm sympathetic to the situation. But on the other hand, the rules and regulations with regard to hunting will come back into this subcommittee, because when the commission voted on those rules and regulations, but for hunting, it left the old language about hunting in place without change. And that needs to be updated. And I drafted a whole thing about how to codify hunting being allowed on conservation land already, which I think this subcommittee has seen, and that has to do with wearing orange and all that kind of stuff. So hunting, not an educational discussion, but the subject of hunting and the rules will come back into this committee sometime in the future before the 3 months is up.
But let's take that when it happens. I really need to leave. I'm
Bye-bye.
sorry.
Thanks, Andre. Thank
Take
you.
You guys
care.
need to vote
See
to
ya.
adjourn. Do you need to vote to adjourn?
Well, let's do that because I need to go. I'm sorry.
I move that we adjourn. It is 1:46.
Bye.
Thank you all. I'm going to stop the recording here.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.